Welcome to the leading podcast for long-term weight management. Subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss an episode. You can connect with Jenny on all social media channels. You can also sign up to the newsletter to receive frequent content and tips for weight loss success.
Hey guys, welcome to the Power Over Food podcast. I am your host, Jenny McDonald. I hope you are having a great week. I hope life is treating you well, and I hope things are good for you. So today's episode is about self-worth, but just before I start talking about self-worth, I just wanted to say, if this is the first time you are listening to one of these podcasts, the Power Over Food podcast, please feel free to give the other episodes a listen. You will hopefully find them very, very valuable. There is lots of information in there to help you with your journey, on your weight loss journey, or just simply changing your relationship with food. And if you are enjoying these podcasts, please feel free to connect with me on social media. And if you can leave me a review, I would really, really appreciate it. I'm on a mission to spread this message about changing our relationship with food from the angle of understanding ourselves more rather than dieting. And the more people I can reach with this podcast, the better, really. So what is self-worth? Well, I did some Googling because I do believe that our self-worth is seems to be related to our weight or our appearance. But when I Googled, one of the definitions that I came across, I should say, was self-worth is the opinion you have about yourself and the value you place on yourself. An example of self-worth is your belief that you are a good person who deserves good things, or your belief that you are a bad person who deserves bad things. And one's worth as a person is perceived by oneself. So it really is about how we see ourselves. So I've been reflecting on, how do we decide if we are a good or a bad person? What factors do we consider, and how do we measure it? So how would I measure my self-worth? And when I started reflecting on this question, I'm sure that you will agree that over the years, our culture has created an enforced belief that our worth is defined by our size, our weight, our shape, and our appearance. And the media promotes a certain look, or they pick apart celebrities that have tiny amounts of cellulite or a small roll when they're sitting down in their bikini. And because this certain look or certain way is promoted, I don't think there's probably many women out there who can honestly say they have never struggled with how they feel or how they value themselves based on how they look. And I believe this is because we have developed this society, and the media pushes it, that, we are more worthy as a person if we look a certain way, if we have a certain body shape or size. So it's really no surprise that we seem to value ourselves much less when we are in a larger body. And I think this is starting to change, and there is a big push at the moment on body positivity, which is great. But there is still so many people that have a low self-worth due to their body size. And even as I say that out loud, I kind of want to scream, because it's so not true, and we know it's not true. It's actually crazy, because self-worth is not about what size you are. And the fact that self-worth is how we value ourselves, then it really isn't about the numbers, is it? But even after losing weight, yes, my self-worth increased, but I would still continue to measure myself against others who I would still see as smaller, or had a better body shape in my eyes, or always seem to be in control with their relationship with food. And actually, if I'm really honest, these thoughts are still there. They're still there in the background. Yes, they are much quieter thoughts, but I am still working on shifting these beliefs and these thoughts around how worthy I am compared to another person. And what I've also recognised over the years is that the majority of ladies that I have worked with, they put themselves last. They do everything for everybody else and they have nothing left for themselves. And whether that is making 3 different meals at dinner time and then picking at the leftovers because they can't be bothered to make a 4th meal for themselves, or whether it's always working late, always being the one that helps out when there's something to do within the family. And I believe that this is correlated with self-worth too. So going back to thinking about self-worth and the amount you value yourself, if you think about something that you do value, maybe your children, maybe your family, your partner, your dog, or even if it's something of material that you value, so something like that is precious to you, like your car or your mobile phone. We all seem to place a lot of value on our phones these days. So it's likely if you value a person or a pet or even an object, you will look after it. You will make sure it has nutritious food, you'd walk your dog each day. So do you see where I'm going here? If we valued ourselves highly enough, we would look after ourselves better. And I believe that we would look after ourselves in terms of what we're putting in and how we care for ourselves in terms of activity level and our boundaries with other people, which I will come on to. So all of this got me thinking that we need to stop measuring our value, our self-worth by our appearance. And back to the definition that I shared at the start, an example of self-worth is your belief that you are a good person that deserves good things, or your belief that you are a bad person who deserves bad things. So then I started thinking, well, okay, what makes a good person? If we take the weight and the size and the shape out of the conversation, what else makes a good person? What do I value as a person? And the first thing that I came up with is a good person is someone who has qualities such as being kind and caring and maybe even intelligent. Now, I'm not sure about this one. I think I came up with that because I have a deep-rooted belief that I am not intelligent. So I think I'm looking at, right, what qualities do I think are worthy qualities, if you like. But this also made me think, well, does that mean that if a person who is kind and caring, does that mean they have good boundaries? Because to me, if I was being caring, it also means that I'll do anything for anybody if they need me to. But that also means that I quite often would put myself last because I would put everybody else first. And again, something that I've been working on. Because I admire people that do have strong boundaries, who don't bend if someone else pushes and pushes. These people that can just politely say no and mean no, and they don't have to explain or make excuses. They just know that they can't or they don't wish to do something, and they don't feel bad about this. And to me, this type of person has great self-worth. They value themselves enough to make time for themselves and to commit to this no matter what else is being asked of them. They value themselves enough not to do something that they don't want to do. And this is not selfish, this is self-care. So with all this in mind, how does one increase their self-worth? Well, there are some simple but effective things that you can start to practice. So firstly, recognise what you are good at and focus on these things on a daily basis. So maybe you pride yourself on being amazing at your job. Maybe you're a great friend, a good listener, a brilliant mummy. Now, watch out for your inner critic telling you unhelpful rubbish, because I see this often when I'm working with my clients. They might say, yeah, I'm a good mum, but actually I probably could be better because I'm not actually able to pick up my child every day from school due to my work commitments. So actually I'm probably not that great a mum, am I? Hello? How about that makes you more amazing as you're juggling being an awesome mum and you're juggling a full-time job as well? So, our inner critic kind of keeps reminding us of the small things that we can't achieve and measures that against other people. And then we are constantly, berating ourselves for what we can't do or what we haven't done rather than what we can do or what we are good at. For many who have low self-worth, we are constantly finding reasons that we're not good enough. We are constantly comparing ourselves to others. And your biggest win in life will be to just let go of all of this. When you stop comparing yourself to others and accept that you are an awesome human being doing the best that you can do, you will free yourself. And then you can really strive to being the best version of yourself. Now, another thing that you may find helpful is trying to catch any unhelpful thinking, particularly thoughts about yourself. And once you catch these thoughts, try coming up with more balanced, helpful thoughts. I notice that I say I'm rubbish at cooking. And the truth is, I'm actually okay at cooking, but I'm not that keen on cooking. And I just don't get any pleasure out of it. But if I had to cook a 3-course meal, if I had to follow a recipe, then I could 100% do this. I wouldn't necessarily enjoy it, but I could do it. So saying I'm rubbish at cooking is just not true. So when I catch myself saying that and saying that to other people, I now correct myself and I now say, actually, that's not true. I'm not a fan of cooking because I prefer to spend my time doing other things. So another swap in terms of the thoughts that you tell yourselves is, I always use the example of I am greedy because it's one I hear so often. People phone me up and they say, I know my problem, I'm just greedy. How about changing this to, yes, I enjoy eating food, but I'm also working on listening to my body so that I can understand what it needs. Because changing your negative self-talk is a real game changer, and it's something I work on with all my clients. Now, a third tip is surround yourself with positive people and let go of the negative ones. Because there are people that thrive on bitching and moaning, and they are toxic and they drag you down. And if you spend a lot of time with people like this, then your self-worth is likely to be lower, because it's hard not to get into the same mindset of life isn't fair and the grass is greener. If only I had X in my life, it would be better. So instead, link up with people that you admire because they are okay with themselves. I say okay because we have a saying that it's really what we're aiming for is a relationship where I'm okay, you're okay. I'm no better or no worse than anyone else. We all have our own challenges and we all do our best to deal with them. And if someone has found no better way to deal with life than moaning about it, then that's okay. I don't judge them for that. I just choose not to spend time listening to that for my own self-care. And when you surround yourselves with people who have a positive outlook on life, then it really does lift you. I'm part of several communities online full of people who are striving to live their best life, and it really does make a difference. There is no negative self-talk in the group, there is no moaning in the group. It really is about striving to be the best and helping each other become the best. And finally, my last tip I'm going to leave you with, and I'm sure I've said this before, but learning to say no. And I know this can be a real challenge. And I even hear people say, oh, I know I need to do this, but I find it so hard. But if you are saying yes and ending up with no time for yourself, then try to make your time non-negotiable. Put it in your diary like any other appointment. And maybe even pre-warn people that always put on you. So say to them, oh, I have a regular appointment now on a Tuesday, so I just wanted to let you know I'm not going to be available on Tuesdays. And don't see it as being selfish. See it as an important duty of your self-care that work towards raising your self-worth. And plus, raising your self-worth will not only benefit you, but it will benefit those around you, because you will be operating from a better place, and you are setting an example to others of how to value and how to care for yourself. I used to avoid exercising and sit and watch telly with my little girl because I think, oh, she wants a cuddle. And this morning I did it while she was exercising, and I did it in the same room. And I thought, oh, I should sit with her. And then I thought, no, I want her to see that this is part of my self-care routine, that mummy's time and mummy's exercise is important. And in the end, she actually said, Mummy, can you go out the room because you're distracting me from the telly? But I want her to see that, because I grew up and my parents never ever did any exercise. We never even went for a walk unless it was on holiday. And I want her to see exercise, or movement as I like to call it, as part of a normal, healthy lifestyle, not something that Mummy and Daddy didn't do. So they are just a few thoughts on self-worth. And as I said at the beginning, when we have higher self-worth, when we value ourselves, we are more likely to take care of ourselves. And whether that is nourishing your body, giving it the food it needs, whether it's taking time to prepare food, whether it's taking yourself for a walk or a swim, you want to care for yourself and your body because you value it. So I invite you this week to choose one or maybe all of those tips that I've shared and work on, if you need to, work on upping your self-worth, placing a higher value on yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you have a great week. I just want to do a shout out as well to my ladies in the 6-week Kickstart group in the Becoming You Academy, because they are all doing amazing. And they are into week 2 of their journey, week 3 on Monday, and they are just really engaging with what they need to do to just start to make some small changes on their relationship with food and their relationship with yourself. So well done, ladies. So have a great week and stay safe, and I will see you all soon.